The Last of Us renewed for season 3 ahead of the season 2 premiere. And obviously this article is from a few days ago before the premiere, technically aired on HBO this last Sunday. So the article says, The Last of Us has been renewed by HBO for a third season in advance of the premiere of Season 2. While the first season adapted the acclaimed 2013 Sony PlayStation game of the same title, the game's sequel that was released in 2020, The Last of Us Part 2, is so massive that creators Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann always planned to split its events into multiple seasons. In an interview with Variety about the 7-episode Season 2, Mazin said that he felt the series has 1 or 2 more seasons before reaching the end of Part 2. And he did say, quote, "It's getting harder to make because every episode gets big." He said, "You don't want to wait 4 years for a 17-episode finish," or whatever it is. So that's interesting, right? In a further statement with the renewal announcement, Mazin said, "We approach Season 2 with the goal of creating something that we could be proud of. The end results have exceeded even our most ambitious goals, thanks to our continued collaboration with HBO and the impeccable work of our unparalleled cast and crew." So those are some of the stuff there, and then I think Neil Druckmann, kind of obviously the game's creator, goes into it a little bit more, in the article and saying, to see The Last of Us brought to life so beautifully and faithfully has been a career highlight for me, and there's more stuff here. So, anyways, kind of a no-brainer here, right? Like, this isn't, the sky is blue, right? It's not shocking news, obviously, that The Last of Us has been renewed for Season 3. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know if you call it shocking, but maybe surprising news about this is that it was done ahead of Season 2 even coming out, right? And so this really bodes well for the show, bodes well for Season 2, obviously, because if the product wasn't great, HBO would have maybe waited a little bit, right, to see what the reception might be, and then maybe if they, have some second thoughts about a Season 3. But this really is a good comment on Season 2, really looks like it's going to be great, and also is a big move because they already have renewed it now, and so hopefully this means less time in between seasons here, which I think also would make more sense as well, because Season 2 and 3 will be adapting the same game and the same story. And I've already seen some reviews that have stated that Season 2, I think one of the reviews specifically said it felt incomplete the way that it ends. And so, again, I have not seen it. I don't know. But it does seem, and I saw some other reviews say similar things. So it does seem like Season 2, it's kind of like these, like Dune comes to mind, or Wicked this last year, right? Those films where it ends at a point where it's very clear that a second part is coming. And so it's actually almost to the point where it's, especially with Dune, to me, it was like, okay, this is kind of an underwhelming ending to this movie. But obviously, when we see the next one, when you saw Dune Part 2, you're like, okay, I get it. I get why they did that, and it made sense, right? And so to me, I feel like that's what we're going to get here with The Last of Us Season 2 and 3. And so to kind of expedite the process and try to get Season 3 out as soon as possible after Season 2, I think would be a really smart bet for HBO, and I think they obviously see that, and that's, I think, exactly what this means, is that they're trying to get Season 3 going a little bit, quicker than the gap here between Season 1 and 2, which was, about 2 years, right, between Season 1 and 2, right, because we had, January and then April, so a little bit more than 2 years, right, between the two premieres of these seasons, and, but hopefully with them renewing, Season 3 ahead of it even airing, and obviously, behind the scenes, they've probably been working on Season 3 already, knowing that this was coming. So hopefully this means that next season can be even a shorter wait between Season 2 and 3, and then hopefully this story can really kind of feel a little bit more complete, as it all comes together. So it is interesting that they haven't, Craig Mazin's been very kind of coy about whether it's going to be done in Season 3 or they do need a Season 4. And so, I feel like that's probably HBO on him a little bit. You know, obviously The Last of Us has been massive for them. Even just the season 2 premiere has been very successful the last couple of days, we've heard. And so, you know, it does sound like, yeah, they would probably want a season 4 of the show. And so I think right now it's probably that, right behind the scenes, where HBO's kind of pushing him for a season 4. Is he going to be able to stretch the story for another season, or does he not want to? Is HBO going to give him the chance to not do that? I think that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes right now, and so we'll have to see. Again, I have not played the video game, so I'm not super knowledgeable on, you know, the adaptation and the story that is taking place here, and whether that story could truly be stretched for 2 more seasons. I'm not an expert on that, you know, but that's just what I would think is going on. So anyways, they'll just do it for this news, right? That Last of Us has been renewed for season 3. Again, not shocking at all. Pretty clear that they would do it. Maybe a little bit surprising, though, that it happened even before season 2 came out. And hopefully this bodes well for a shorter time between season 2 and 3 coming out on HBO for sure.